Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Imagine walking through a quiet park on a freezing evening, your breath visible in the cold air, your mind busy with billion-dollar decisions, and then suddenly, your entire past collides with your present in the most unexpected way. That's exactly what happened to him. He was a man who had everything: wealth, power, influence. A billionaire known for his sharp instincts and ruthless business decisions. People admired him, envied him, even feared him. But what they didn't know was that beneath the tailored suits and luxury lifestyle, there was a part of his life he had buried so deeply, he almost convinced himself it never existed. That evening, he wasn't supposed to be in the park. His driver had taken a wrong turn due to road construction, and rather than sit in traffic, he decided to walk the last few blocks to his penthouse. It was a rare moment of solitude. No assistants, no phone calls, no board meetings. Just him, the cold air, and the quiet rustling of leaves. As he walked past a dimly lit bench, something, or rather someone, caught his attention. At first, it was just a glance. A woman sitting on a worn-out park bench, wrapped in a thin coat, her shoulders slightly hunched against the cold. Beside her, two small figures sat close, trying to stay warm. Twins, perhaps 6 or 7 years old. They were bundled up, but their clothes looked worn, not enough for a night like this. He would have walked past, like most people do. But something made him stop. Maybe it was the way the woman gently brushed one child's hair back, or the way she smiled despite her obvious exhaustion. Or maybe it was something deeper, something familiar. He took a step closer, and then it hit him. His heart skipped a beat. It couldn't be. But it was her, the woman he had once loved more than anything in the world, his ex-lover, the one he had left behind years ago when he chose ambition over everything else. For a moment, he couldn't move. Time seemed to freeze, just like the cold air around him. His mind raced back to memories he had tried so hard to forget, late-night talks, shared dreams, promises whispered under the stars, and then reality crashed in. The twins. His eyes shifted to the children. One of them looked up, their gaze meeting his for just a second. And in that moment, something inside him shattered. Those eyes, they looked exactly like his chest tightened. No, it couldn't be, but deep down, he already knew. He took another step forward, his polished shoes crunching against the gravel. The woman looked up, startled at first. And then, as her eyes locked onto his face, her expression changed: shock, fear, and something else, something unspoken. For a few seconds, neither of them said a word. The world around them seemed to disappear. Is it really you? He finally asked, his voice barely above a whisper. She swallowed hard, her fingers tightening around the small hands beside her. Yes, she said quietly. Her voice hadn't changed, that same softness, that same warmth, but there was something else now, something heavier: life, struggle, pain. His eyes drifted back to the children. There. He couldn't finish the sentence. She hesitated. And in that hesitation, he got his answer. They're yours, she said finally, her voice steady but her eyes filled with emotion. The words hit him like a storm. He staggered back slightly, his mind struggling to process what he had just heard. Yours. He looked at them again, really looked this time. The resemblance was undeniable. The shape of their eyes, the curve of their smiles, it was like looking into a mirror of his past. Why didn't you tell me? He asked, his voice rising slightly, a mix of confusion and disbelief. She looked away, her gaze dropping to the ground. You left, she said simply. You made it very clear that your life didn't have space for this. Her words stung, because they were true. Years ago, he had been a different man. Driven, obsessed with success, unwilling to let anything slow him down. When she told him she was pregnant, he had panicked. Not because he didn't care, but because he cared too much about the wrong things. He had convinced himself that leaving was the right choice, that he would come back later, that he would fix everything. But later never came. And now, here he was, face to face with the life he had abandoned. The cold wind picked up, making one of the children shiver. Instinctively, he took off his expensive coat and stepped forward, gently placing it over the child's shoulders. The woman watched him, surprised. You don't have to, she started. I do, he said quietly. For the first time in years, he didn't sound like a billionaire. He sounded like a man. A father. His gaze shifted to her hands. She was holding a phone, her fingers trembling slightly as she typed something. What are you doing? He asked. She hesitated again, trying to find a place to stay tonight. She admitted. I've been messaging shelters, but they're all full. His chest tightened even more. Shelters, his children, his family, sitting on a cold bench, texting for shelter, while he lived in a penthouse that had more rooms than he could count. The realization was unbearable. Why didn't you ask for help? He asked. She let out a small, bitter laugh. From who? She said. You? He didn't have an answer, because again, she wasn't wrong. Silence fell between them, heavy and uncomfortable, but this time, he didn't run from it. Instead, he made a decision. A different kind of decision than the ones he made in boardrooms. Come with me, he said. She looked at him, confused. What? Come with me, he repeated. You and the kids. You're not staying out here tonight. She shook her head immediately. No. I can't. Yes, you can, he said firmly, but gently. I'm not asking for anything. I won't let you stay here. She looked at him, searching his face for something, maybe sincerity, maybe regret. Why now? She asked softly. After all these years, why now? He took a deep breath. Because I didn't know, he said. And even if that's not an excuse, it's the truth. But I know now. And I can't just walk away again. The children looked between them, sensing the tension but not fully understanding it. One of them tugged at her sleeve. Mom. I'm cold, the child whispered. That was it. The moment everything changed. She closed her eyes for a second, then nodded. Okay, she said quietly, and just like that, their lives took a turn. He led them out of the park, his mind racing with thoughts, emotions, and questions. For the first time in years, he didn't care about business deals or stock markets. All he could think about was them. When they reached his penthouse, the children's eyes widened in amazement. The warmth, the lights, the sheer size of the place, it was a world completely different from the one they had been living in. But he didn't focus on that. He focused on making them feel safe. Comfortable. At home. He called for warm food, blankets, anything they needed. The staff looked surprised, but no one questioned him, and as he watched his children sit at a table, eating a proper meal, laughing softly, something inside him shifted. For the first time in a long time, he felt something real, not power, not success, but purpose. He looked at her, standing quietly by the window. I'm sorry, he said. Two simple words. But they carried years of regret. She didn't respond immediately. But she didn't walk away either, and sometimes, that's where healing begins, right there. In the silence between what was broken, and what might still be fixed.